So again, today our topic is how to double your income. Let's face it, everybody wants to make more money. I mean, even people that are rich, they want to become richer. It's just a phenomena that we have, that everyone wants to make more money. You know, I love the car business. One of the things I love so much about the car business is that I can make as much money as I want. It's an unlimited potential. I think that's why I got into it, many, many years ago, because technically in my mind, I owned my own business. I had everyone else paying for everything else that I needed, and I got a large percentage, 25% of the gross profit. And somebody else paid for the inventory, the advertising, the administrative, the insurances, the lights, the fixtures, and everything. And I got 25% of the gross profit of every car deal I sold. And if we didn't make any money on the car deal, I didn't lose money. I still got a flat. But I wanted to make more, and I want to make more, and I want to make more. It's natural for most of us that are type A personalities. So there are three things you have to have if you want to make more money. And I'm going to actually give you 14 rules eventually here in a few minutes. But you got to have willpower. You gotta want this. You got to have the drive is number two. You got to have a drive to want to make more money. And you have to have a mindset of never surrender, never give up, never quit, keep moving forward. You're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. You're going to have good months and you're going to have bad months. Never quit. Most of us quit right before we're about to become successful. If you look at some of the greatest business successes out there, they don't quit. They failed at certain things and they kept moving forward and trying new things. So three things you got to have. You got to have willpower, you got to have drive, and you got to have that mindset. The choice you make is yours. And there are two choices. You can either work harder or work smarter. Now, you all know I'm going to tell you to work smarter. Look, I don't want to work hard. Okay. I like to work smart. I'm not going to go out and cut my grass at home. I'm going to pay somebody to do that because I'm a smart worker. When I'm in the dealership, I can get more done by working smart than by grinding it out. It's not how many hours I put in, it's how much I get done in the hours that I'm there. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to put in the hours, because you do. So working smart is the only way. So with that said, we've developed 14 rules to help you double your income. And let's go through them. Rule number one is the personal investment. You have to make a personal investment, whether it be monetarily or whether it be time. You have to spend some money on yourself, whether it's going to be training, going to events, signing up for workshops. You got to invest in yourself. Don't expect the dealership to do that. A lot will, but don't expect that. You also have to invest the time. You have to be 100 times better than anybody else. And so that's where the time comes in. It's not working harder, it's working smarter with the time. It's a business. Like I said earlier, it's your business. If you're serious about your education and you pay for it, you'll pay more attention to it. So you got to invest in the time and a little bit of money. Rule number two, let's talk about a sales part of our sales process, and that's the meet and greet. We all know that customers come to our dealership very, very defensive. That's a natural fact. If you want to double your sales, double your income, the first step in the sales process is the most critical. They come in like this, you've got to release them. You've got to get right out of the gate. You have to show an enthusiastic attitude and you have to have energy. They have to view you as a guide and not a salesperson. You have to remove that fear. That's why I love it when people ask me or make a statement, we're not buying a car today. I say, great, takes all the pressure off me. Love to spend time with you, show you all the cars we have. Let's consider today an informational gathering event. We'll look at cars. If you see any you like, let's jump inside. We can drive some. Then before you leave, let me give you a price and take home to think about and consider. So you're leaning more toward a newer used car. You want to double your sales, you got to get those customers comfortable from the get-go to want to spend time with you. Eliminating those trial closes, getting them comfortable. Now I say, and I have to rephrase this every time, I always say you can take the numbers home and think about it. Am I going to let them do that? No, I'm still going to negotiate. I'm still going to overcome objections. I'm still going to try to close the deal. Rule number three is you have to have more appointments. You have to have more people coming in to see you. You cannot rely on walk-in traffic. Closing ratio on walk-in traffic is around 13%. Closing ratio on something you generate on your own is going to be closer to 70%. Don't rely on the small percentages. It's all about the appointment. You have to strive to make one appointment a day with somebody, just one. Make as many calls as you need to make, do as much social media posts as you need to make. If you make one a day, There's technically 22 working days in a good month. That's 22 appointments. You're going to sell cars. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Rule number rule number 4 is now skill acquisition. There's no way to double your income and sell more cars without improving your skill sets. You must become a master at closing car deals, especially at the first pencil. You have to know how to defend your pencil and defend your price. The easiest way to become a master of that is to know how to ask for the sale. We've had a show on this in the past. What's the 7 most effective words to closing a car deal? It is, would you like to buy the car? You have to ask for the sale. You're not going to sell more cars if you don't ask. You're not going to present numbers and people are just going to say, okay, we'll buy it. You know how I feel. Turning a piece of paper around and saying, circle the one that works best for you is not a closing technique. How would you like the car registered and titled is not a closing technique. That is abrasive. Ask people to buy. If you've done your job, ask them to buy. Rule number 5 is you must have a statistical roadmap. You must have a roadmap that gives you statistical data to let you know where you're going and how you are going to get there. This is very, very important. You have to know how many sales you need to, you have to know how many customers you need to have to make how many sales. How many walk-ins do you need? How many phone-ups, referrals, service customers, feedback? What is your statistical data? You have to create your own statistical data for yourself. Don't rely on industry standards for you. Industry standards are great. They give you a guideline. You might determine from your statistical data that you're much better and stronger and you have a higher closing percentage on customers that come out of service. That's where you need to focus your time. You have to know your closing ratios at all times. You have to know, we track here at DLA all of our statistical data. You cannot just say, I'm going to sell 20 cars this month. You have to have that statistical data roadmap. What are you going to do? You must know where they are coming from. You need to know how many people you need to talk to and how they're going to get to you. How many demos do you have to do to sell X amount of cars? How many write-ups to sell X amount of cars? A little bit of this is kind of old school, but some of the old school stuff really does work and it does make logical sense. So know where your leads are coming from. Know where you're best at to get the leads. You know, it's sort of like golf. I play golf. You know, when I get to a certain distance, there's a certain distance around 170 yards, I really break down. I'm good at the 160 and below. I'm great at the 190 and above. So I lay up. I know what my statistical data tells me. Okay. If you don't have your statistical data written down, all you have is a wish, a prayer, and a dream. And we know what happens with those. Some of them come true, but most of them don't. So don't create better odds for yourself with the statistical data. Rule number 6 is you have to have consistency. You must follow your sales process 100% of the time. It's there for a reason. We've developed this over the years. Sure, we've critiqued it a little bit and softened it and added little steps to it, but the basic fundamental steps still stay the same. We've all heard over and over again the salesperson that goes into the slump and we tell them to go back to the basic steps. There's a reason for that. Okay, those steps are there for a reason. Shortcuts are pay cuts. Look at it. You're going to do your statistical data. If you do it right, you're going to find out your closing ratios are higher when you do demos. You're going to find if you do it right that your closing ratios are higher the longer the demo drive. That's where this all comes together. So perform every step with every customer. Do 30-minute demo rides. I know we're in this COVID situation, but we're coming out of it. Most people will get in cars now. And I mean, look at it. I live in Florida. Our restaurants are packed. Our bars are packed. I mean, to a lot of people now, COVID is just a flu bug and a flu virus. So be safe. I'm not telling you not to be safe. So, but do what you got to do. And by all means, do a service walk. That's all part of the consistency, all the steps. When you're done selling the car, you're done selling yourself. Now take 5 minutes and sell your dealership with a service walk. Rule number 7, social media blitz. Every sale you make gets a picture and a video. You got to post this stuff. Get this stuff out there. Post every great sale on your social media, on your Facebook, your Instagram, your Snapchat, your LinkedIn, wherever you want to post this stuff. It's free and it does get recognized and people do react to this. There's nothing better than the word of mouth, not the word. The word of mouth goes from one person to another. And that word changes. The word of mouth means you put out a video, a picture, a congratulations. Everybody sees it and they all see the same message. The message doesn't change. Okay. You need as many positive reviews everywhere people could look. whether it be on your dealership's Google page, whether it be on your personal Facebook pages. Again, if this social media blitz can add 1 or 2 cars a month to your portfolio, that's 24 cars a year. It's not going to happen in day 1, but if you do it, you'll see it happening in month 3, month 4, month 5, month 6. This is one of those things you will not regret doing. Rule number 8 is cold calling. Okay, you got to do a little bit of cold calling. And I'm going to be honest with you, I hate cold calling. But if you can sit down for 15 minutes and make 15, 20 cold calls a day, you're going to bump into somebody. Now, me personally, I like to cold call off of things that have some sort of value to me. I like to go after previous customers, orphan owners, maybe people that were in our service department that had a service visit and it was an expensive repair, checking up on how things went and bringing into the conversation of, we are having a promotion. I know prices are high. I like going with lease quotes. My feeling is I take their trade, what I think their trade is, I ACV it, I take the whole amount as a cap reduction, gives me a really low lease payment, get them enticed. Once they're enticed, then you can say, oh, by the way, do you have a payoff? Okay, we need to adjust. Okay. Especially those that are 3 years and older. Rule number 9 is inventory and product knowledge. You got to know your inventory. You got to have great product knowledge. Okay, you can't, when the customer knows more than you, you're done. It's all about price. It is all going to be about price. And it's going to be about who gives them the best price. Somebody wants a $15,000 truck with low miles and 1 owner. You need to know instantly if you have it, if you don't have it. Customers love salespeople who are competent in their job. They really, really are. I'm not a big truck person. I understand the ratios and the gears and the towing capacities and all that kind of stuff. I'm not an expert on that. Somebody could very easily come in and prove me not an expert. So I got to be careful in those situations. Rule number 10 goes back to our social media blitz, and that's your Facebook marketplace. Everybody's going now to Facebook marketplace. It's the hot thing. It won't be hot in a year or 2 from now, and it wasn't hot 2 years ago. But let's ride these trends. Let's get on Facebook marketplace now. It's free. Post 5, 10 vehicles, 2 or 3 a day, however you want to do it. Do not use your dealership pictures. Do not have anything relating to your dealership. Don't have the dealership phone number, nothing, because once they see it, it puts out that defensive guard. Let them think it's a private party sale. Let them go to your cell phone number. Okay. The other thing is this: if they see the dealership and it's ABC Motors, well, you know what? They might call ABC Motors directly, and then get another salesperson, and your efforts you've lost, and you'll never know that that's how the customer came to the dealership. You want them to call you. That's the most important thing. Rule number 11. Okay, I know some of you are already popping in some questions. I'm going to get to them all. Rule number 11, daily training. You got to train every single day, every single day. Don't make it a big process. It's not supposed to be an hour. 10, 15 minutes, whether you're watching some of my videos on our site, on our portal, maybe you're going to YouTube every day and Google searching something different, how to close a car deal, how to negotiate a car deal, how to make a good demonstration on a car deal, how to overcome a specific objection. Every day, try to learn one little tiny thing that you can add to your portfolio. I've told you over the past couple of years, I started playing golf 4 years ago. I love this sport. I'm so frustrated. I want to be really, really good at it. And I'm probably just average, but I want to be great. So every day I go out there for 20, 30 minutes and I hit balls and I watch what other people do and I watch little golf videos. And my goal is every day just to try something a little different. Some things work, some things don't. If they don't work, I put them aside. If they do work, I add them into my repertoire of what I do. Rule number 12, back to prospecting, and that's service prospecting. I mentioned that a few minutes ago. I love the service department. I could go work at a dealership right now, be the #1 salesperson never taken up. I only want to work in service. These are captive people. They know your dealership. They know your business. They know everything. And again, I like to quickly get their VIN number, go to KBB. I come up with an average wholesale value. I deduct $2,000 off of that so they know that I'm close with the value of the car. I go work up a new lease on a similar car. I take that whole value as a cap reduction. I come up with payments of $125, $150, $200 a month. I sit down with the customers in the lounge. I send them a text message. I call them. I say, listen, I don't know if you're interested. Got a big promotion going on or whatever you want to say. It says, I could put you in a brand new Camry, just like you have, for as little as $179. If you have some interest before you leave, come and see me. If you want to stop in when you come to pick up your car, stop in and see me. I can show you the cars. Then when they come in, then I'm going to ask them, do you have a payoff? I've got them captivated. I've got them at least talking to me. Oh yeah, we owe $6,000. Okay, let me recalculate that. Okay, now it's going to be $249. While you're here, do you want to take a few minutes, show you the cars that we have in stock? I know we're having a problem with inventory right now. We're going to get through this, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't prepare ourselves. Rule number 13 is a mindset of motivation. You must motivate your mind daily. Listen to something motivational on your way to work. Some of you listen to music. I'm okay with the music, but make it motivational music. Let it get you fired up. Like from Rocky, the Eye of the Tiger. Come in with that attitude. Maybe your motivation is listening to a speaker, someone that's giving good thoughts and wholesome thoughts into your mind every day. Stay away from all this negativity. I can't watch the news anymore. It's so negative. There's nothing good coming out of it. You could watch 5 hours of news and maybe find one little 3-minute blurb on something good that happened to somebody. Stay away from all that. Also, try to find yourself a mentor. Maybe it's somebody in the dealership that's really, really successful. Maybe it's somebody that you know on the internet. It could be anybody, someone who you strive for. Always hang around with people that are more successful than you. It'll make you more successful. Rule number 14, follow-up. Sold and unsold customer follow-up. This is our last rule. You got to stay in touch with these people. I am absolutely amazed. I'm shocked at a salesperson that has been selling cars in the same market for 20 plus years and still can only manage to sell 10, 12 cars a month. That is a salesperson that just never got it, never found somebody who educated them on the power of follow-up. I buy a car from you. I don't want you calling me on my birthday. It's just me. I'm not saying it's wrong. Don't send me a card. I'm just me. Okay. Don't call me on a 3-year lease a month before my lease expires, because then I'm going to think to myself, well, you didn't care about me for the last 3 years. You want to get my attention? Every 6, 8, 10 months, call and remind me to get my oil changed and my tires rotated. Just keep your name in front of me. Don't ever try to sell me anything, because when I'm ready, then I'll come to you. And that's the easiest customer to sell. Be the customer's liaison. You told me during the sales process you were going to take care of me after I bought the car. Follow through with that. Now think about this. 20 years ago, Bob starts selling cars, and he sells 10 cars a month. That's 120 cars a year. That's 1,200 cars in 10 years. That's 2,400 cars over 20 years. Think about it. If he were staying in touch with all those people, how many more cars would he sell? If he built some sort of friendship, relationship with these people, how many more cars would those people have bought from him? Their friends, their family, their coworkers. It's unlimited. People get into this industry as a job, but it's a great career. I know salespeople that are making over $200,000 a year, still work for the same dealership, been there 20 plus years, never taken up. They take orders. They take orders. These are people they've sold cars to year after year after year, their friends, their family. Okay. So you must make them your number one default name. You must become their liaison after the sale. You must become their trusted guide and resource center. You never stop following up, never, unless they tell you to stop following up. So I got a couple of final points, and I'll grab some of these questions. Our income rises when we recreate ourselves, and that's the chance you get. When we stay the same, we get the same results, and it's just not worth it. Hang around with people that make a lot more money than you do. It gives you something to shoot for. Hang around people who make a lot more phone calls than you do. It gives you something to shoot for. Hang around people who prospect a lot more than you do. Why? Because this is the kind of peer pressure that you want. It's good. It's positive peer pressure. And eventually you'll be sick and tired of losing to this person. And eventually you will start to gain access and gain threads on them. And that's really, really important. Excuse me, I just had something fly in my eye. All right, let me grab some of these questions that are coming in. I'll answer a few of them real quick. We have a minute or two here. Matt wants to know, isn't it impractical to believe I can double my income in this market when we don't have any cars to sell? Well, Matt, that's a negative mindset. Is it possible? Sure, anything's possible. You still are selling cars. There's still other salespeople you're competing against. You should be making a ton of money right now. Grosses are stronger than they've ever been. Now the question is this, Matt, is when things start to change, and they are starting. They are starting. I'm talking to dealerships who are saying we are starting to get inventory. I've always thought that at the end of this year, we're going to start to see cars. Are you prepared, Matt, then to double your income? All right, this one says city conference room. Why do you believe the average salesperson only sells 8 to 12 cars per month? What would you say the biggest mistake salespeople make? Well, the sad part is that the statistics have always been 8 to 12 cars per month. And I think it's more to 7 to 10 cars a month. The biggest mistake I just mentioned, we don't follow up with the customers we sell. We don't build a customer base of people that rely on us for their needs for transportation. And they don't recommend their friends. And I mean, I guess it's a combination. Now that I'm thinking, we're not doing the social media stuff. It's a combination of everything. 8 to 12 cars a month is norm. Anybody can do that. My son, who's still in school, can go and sell 8 to 12 cars a month. It's not very difficult. It's the skilled person. It's the smart person that can get to that higher level. Gordon wants to know, you did not mention about asking for referrals. Hold on, I'm reading between his lines. Before the customer leaves. Well, be honest with you, I don't like asking for referrals. It's just me personally. I'm not saying it's wrong. So please, if you have a process that works and you feel comfortable with it, continue it. I don't like asking for referrals because I don't like giving referrals. It's just me. I just bought a car from you. I'm not going to give you my friends. I'm not going to give you my family members. I'm not going to say, here, call these people and bug them for a car. But here's the deal. If you take good care of me, I'm not going to go ask them if they're ready to buy a car, but I'll tell you what I will do. If it comes up in conversation that somebody's looking for a car, then I'll recommend you if you've done the right job. And that's the best kind of referral you can get. Me personally, I just don't feel comfortable with it. And again, Gordon, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's a personality thing with me. Okay, this one says showroom. I'm concerned that when the market normalizes, the factories will again put heavy rebates on cars, which will ruin the used car market, and we'll be back to mini deals. How in this environment do you double your income? All right, well, that's a great question. I can't control what the manufacturer does. I can only control what I do. And I've always been a believer that the better the presentation, the higher the gross profits. And I don't think anybody can dispute that. I think we're getting lazy these last couple of years. I really, really do. I think people are walking into the dealership. We're not doing our full presentations because we know we've got the only car that they want. We know they've traveled 80 miles because we've got the only car. And we're selling it. We're selling it for full list plus. And so we're not following all the steps. I'm going to tell you this, and I truly believe this. Those of you that follow with that mentality, you will never make it in this industry. Never. It's not going to happen. So I don't know if I've answered the question. How do you, after this turns, just make the best presentation you can. Just create that environment where people want to buy from you. All right, I'll do two more here. Pat says, you mentioned that you need to become really skilled at closing first pencil. Can you provide a tip or two on how to close first pencil? Well, Pat, I don't know if you joined late. The easiest way to close first pencil are those 7 magic words. Make a great presentation, present your numbers, you've earned the right, ask for the sale. Would you like to buy the car? Folks, I can't tell you how many emails I get where people say to me, it's amazing. I just asked for the sale and people actually said yes, no objection. Now, is that the norm? No, of course not. Most people are going to object. And I have no problem with that. But you know what? I've earned the right to ask for their business. Just ask me. Just ask me to buy your car. I will give you an answer. And here's the best part of all. Nobody will ever just say no. It's not logical. Mr. Lewis, the price of the car is X amount of dollars. Would you like to buy the car? No. Just don't do that. I would say, no, I don't think you're giving me enough for my trade. Or no, I think that payment's a little bit higher than I want to be at. I'll give you a reason. And those reasons are buying signs. You overcome them, you'll close the deal. And let me take one more. Sheila says, so every book or trainer I've ever read has said to achieve high closing ratio, oh, you have to master the art of trial closes. You keep telling us never use trial closes. Why? All right, Sheila, great question. I'm going to summarize this in a minute here. Trial closes don't work. Think about this for a second. Let's take the most common trial close. If we can come together in terms and numbers, would you buy the car today? All that does is makes people mad. It makes them more defensive. It warns them of what you're going to do next. Some people say, let's give it the benefit of the doubt, yes. Okay, that's a good sign on that trial close. A lot of people, though, say no. And now we've taken a customer who came in defensive. We went through our presentation and got them relaxed. And now it's just become redefensive again. And here's the worst part of all. Those few people that did say yes to my trial close, I'd have closed them anyways without asking the trial close question. All I did was irritate the others and made it harder for me to close those deals. Trial closes is a sloppy man's way to cut to the chase. It doesn't make sense. Just assume they're going to buy the car. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, how would you rank this car? Who in their right mind is going to say 10? I would tell you 6, 7, because I don't want to throw open my cards to you. And then you're going to come back and say, well, what will it take to make it a 10? Now I got to defend myself. I didn't come here to defend myself. I came here to look for a car. Remember, I buy a car based on 4 factors. Never forget this. The number 1 factor is the car. I got to find a car I like. Your job is to find a car that I love. Factor number 2, I got to like you. If I don't like you, I'll go somewhere else to buy the same car. I know, again, with inventory, it's not as easy, but let's think past this. Number 3, I got to want to do business at your dealership. You've got to be right location. You got to be friendly, kind. You have to have all the pieces that I want. And then number 4 is the price. And it's in that order. It is in that order. Product, salesperson, dealership, price. People aren't thinking about price until the very end. Yet you might think they are. And yes, they're looking at the window stickers. But you know what? It's easier to sell somebody a car that is $10,000 over their budget if they've fallen in love with the car, they like you, and they want to do business at your dealership, versus selling a car to somebody that's cheaper than they really wanted to spend, but they don't really care for the car that much. They don't like you, and the dealership's just okay. What would you rather have? I'd rather sell the car that's $10,000 more to the person that fell in love with it, wants to do business with me, and wants to do business at our dealership. So I'm just not a believer in trial closes. Every time you trial close, this defensive posture goes up 1 click at a time. So don't work hard to bring it down to then bring it right back up. I want, when I sit at my desk and I'm going to ask those 7 magical words, would you like to buy the car? I want this as low as I can humanly possibly get it. It's never going to be on the ground, but I want it as low as I can humanly possibly get it. And if I do that, I have a higher odds of closing the car deal. So with that said, there are a bunch more questions. I will email you all back my responses to your answers. I want to thank you all for sharing another 30 minutes with me today. I can't tell you how much I do appreciate it. And I'll see you again real soon for another session of Live with David Lewis. Thank you all. Be safe. Bye-bye.